thanks for taking a look. Going over some things with my class about acting and about what we teach here, and I thought it might be helpful. So there are three basic things that are critical to acting. And one is that your talent comes from your instincts. And this is from a book called On Acting by Sanford Meisner. Your talent comes from your instincts. And that acting is living truthfully in the imaginary circumstances. And that acting is self-betrayal. So, and of course, the fourth thing that sort of almost goes without saying is that all creativity, including good acting, comes from risk-taking. So if you're not taking risks, your work's going to be predictable, and it's not going to be interesting. So your talent comes from your instincts. What's that mean? It means that what the audience looks at, what you look at in life when you meet somebody, is you're looking at the instinctive emotional responses to everything that's going on in the scene while you're doing the scene. You're looking at your instinctive emotional responses to your partner's emotions, your instinctive emotional responses to the imaginary circumstances. In life, when you meet somebody, you have instinctive emotional responses to them. You don't just take at face value what they say. Somebody says, I love you, you don't just accept that they say, I love you, and they mean it. You look at their body language, you pick up a lot of clues, a lot of cues. If you're a woman walking alone in a parking lot that's kind of dark, and you see somebody walking toward you, your antenna are out. You're picking up things about that human being. Is it safe? Is it not safe? Where are the exits? Where's my car? You're using your instincts a lot. And in a scene, you need to use your instincts. It's a very hard thing to talk about. It's something to experience. But at least I can talk about a little bit and maybe give you a clue about what you're in store for to be a professional actor in any good class, not just art classes. So the problem for most people is what they do is they do line readings. So the first thing they do when they get a scene is they try to figure out, how is this scene supposed to be done? What feelings am I supposed to be having right now? What's the right way to do the scene? What does the casting director want? What does the director want? The problem is that that's what everybody's doing. So if you go into a room or in front of a camera and you start doing that, basically there's nothing unique about your particular performance. Why am I going to hire you over somebody else? We want your uniqueness. When you go to the movies, there's a reason why you go to see Sean Penn or Meryl Streep or Amy Adams or Emily Blunt or any of the people who you hold up as heroes. There's a particular reason why you want to see that actor. There's something special about that actor. And it's very hard to put your finger on. You know? So when you do line readings, your uniqueness doesn't come out. You're kind of doing a generic rendition of the scene that isn't moving. And we go to the theater to be moved. More than anything else, when we go to the theater, we want to be moved. Even if it's an action film, we want to be moved. We want to be excited. We want to have the heck scared out of us. We want to be moved. We want to be affected emotionally. We don't want to be detached and cerebral. We'll leave the theater. We'll turn off the TV if that's what happens. We want to be moved. And when you are just doing line readings, doing your ideas, your preconceived ideas, it's not alive, it's not vibrant, it's not moving, so it doesn't work. Living truthfully in the imaginary circumstances means not doing the scene the way you think you would react if you were in that situation. A lot of people talk about that. They'll say, well, that's how I would react if I were in that situation. But the truth is, we surprise ourselves in life sometimes. You know, ask yourself, have you ever surprised yourself in life? Have you ever reacted in a way you didn't expect to act? Behave. Have you ever behaved badly with your loved one? Have you ever mistreated somebody? Have you ever behaved heroically? Behaved in a way that was better than you knew that thought was in you? We learn about ourselves as we go through life. We learn about who we really are as we deal with life. We may think we're strong in certain situations, and we may find that we feel very weak. We feel very inadequate. And we may feel we're weak in other situations where we step up to the plate and we're really strong and able to take, do what's needed to be done. And it's a surprise, and it's a little challenging to deal with those surprises, but that's who we really are. And oddly enough, acting demands authenticity. It demands your authenticity. That seems like a paradox because you're pretending, but your skill as an actor is the ability to put yourself in those circumstances and let yourself believe in them enough so that you get swept away emotionally, so that your imagination takes over, so that you take things personally, so that, as Meisner says, it's you in the situation. It's not Lady Macbeth, it's not Juliet, it's you in that set of circumstances. You just have a different name. The last thing is self-betrayal is a really tough one because it demands emotional openness. As a matter of fact, all three of these demand emotional openness, and that's the big issue. So self-betrayal, what is that? What's that about? That's about revealing your secret self. That's about letting people see that part of you that you feel is completely private, that you don't want somebody to see. I was listening to, when you listen to documentaries sometimes, soldiers from World War II, and I was listening to a documentary where a guy who was in one of the islands in the Pacific and been going through terrible battle and was absolutely dog-tired, and he'd been in fierce battle, and he needed his sleep, and nighttime was falling, and the battle and the shooting had stopped, and he desperately needed sleep. I mean, this was survival for him. And there was a guy that he could hear but he couldn't see in front of him, out of sight, who was groaning, who was clearly probably dying. And this went on. This guy was groaning and moaning and making all those horrible sounds that you could sort of imagine. And this fellow who told this story was in his foxhole, and he desperately needed to sleep, and he said, "Shut up! Shut up! I gotta sleep! Die already! Just die!" And in the morning, when he woke up, he found out that it was a fellow soldier, a guy he knew who indeed had died. And he told this story on camera during this interview because I guess it was time for him to unburden himself and tell that story. And that's a kind of self-betrayal because he was telling a secret about himself. He was telling something that, the kind of thing that we don't want to share with other people. We all have secrets in life. That's okay. That's okay. It's healthy. You don't share everything with everybody. And every once in a while in life, we do reveal a secret about ourselves. And when we do that, we always worry right after we've done it, oh my God, have I made a mistake? Are they going to understand? Are they going to use this against me? And we feel a little bit like we've betrayed ourselves. Acting as self-betrayal. So the issue is that we have a lot of things that we don't want to share with people. We feel are inappropriate. We feel they're weak. We don't want to be too angry. We don't want to cry. And much more than that. And when you see a performance that really moves you, what that person is doing is they're really letting themselves experience it, and feel it, and go through it as fully as they possibly can, and they are letting themselves fully express whatever that situation is really doing to them, whatever that moment is really doing to them, and they're putting their ego aside. Funny thing, right? To be an actor, you need to have enough of an ego to believe that you have something special to offer. But at the same time, you need to put your ego aside so that you allow people to see whatever wants to come out of you. And you let them think whatever they're going to think. And you learn to let yourself do that in front of the camera. And that takes a lot of practice. And part of the problem is in the business of acting, you go out and you get rejected. And you get people who say, no, give me this result or give me that result. And you start to feel like, oh my God, I've got to manipulate myself again. So you need to get back into a class to get to that place where you do your best work. We're trying to teach you what you need to do your best work. And then we're trying to get you to start to do that, to help you learn how to do that under pressure. So that's the core of what we're teaching here. Of course, there's a lot more that I couldn't possibly say in 20 minutes, but there you go. And I hope to meet you sometime.